Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
All right, good to see everyone tonight. The board met for about 15 minutes in executive session before this evening's meeting to discuss personnel matters, and then we honored our retiree. Really? Dr. Grant is joining us via Zoom this evening. All right, well, off to the first fun thing, which is our recognition of our athletes.
Just a quick review of our spring sports. Our baseball and softball teams. Our baseball and softball teams did not qualify for the state tournament, but they did improve from the previous year's records. So that was a good thing for our spring sports team. The other thing is now we're here to recognize our athletes, student athletes and teams that qualified for the state tournament. And as you can see, we had a very successful spring season. Our girls lacrosse team had the best record in school history. They were 13-4. They won their league title and they were district champions. Elsa Felon and Ava Motto became 100 goal scorers during the season. They won the district title at Midwest against Danville, which I think Allie was a 5-time or 4-time district champion. Danville, prior to you guys beating them. 6. Oh, I was wrong on both accounts. But our girls played well down there and won that. Our boys lacrosse team had a 10-5 record, made it to the district finals where they lost to Selinsgrove. They didn't qualify for states, but one of the reasons I brought them up was special recognition for the boys lacrosse team. Goes to Quinn Michaels, who couldn't be here tonight. He was named USA Lacrosse All-American, and that is who runs lacrosse throughout the United States. Quinn finished second in the state in scoring this year, so he had a really good season, and the team had a good season. The boys tennis team won all their matches but one. They won their division in the PHAC, and they were also team district champions, qualified for states and lost in the first round of interstates. The doubles team of Alexi Rosenberg and Will Stachini won districts and lost in the quarterfinals of the state tournament. So again, they had a very successful season. Boys track and field was undefeated during the season. They won their PHAC division. They were also district champions. The team finished 3rd in the state at the state track and field championships in Shippensburg. They set numerous school records during the school year. Jacob Ghost set the shot put record numerous times. He went from like 55 feet 9 inches to 55 feet 9 1/4 inches to 55 feet 9 3/4 inches to 55 feet 10 inches. He finished 3rd in the state meet. Also setting school records for that team was the 4x100 relay team. They broke the school record, and Anif Shaver set a school record in the 110 hurdles. And the last team I'd like to recognize is the girls track and field team. They were also undefeated during the season. They won their division in the PHAC and were also district champions and finished 2nd in the state tournament at Shippensburg. They also set some school records. Caroline Blakesley set the school record in the 200 meters this year and now holds school records in the 100, 200, and 400 meter runs. Bailey Espinosa set a school record in the 1600 meter run. She also won gold in that event at the state track and field meet. She also set a school record and a state record in the 3200 meter run at the state meet and also won gold in that event. Tegan O'Sunday did not break her school record yet at the state meet, but she did win a gold medal in the javelin. And the 4x100 relay team also set a school record and took 3rd in the state tournament. Now, if I could have some of the coaches come up, we can introduce them, the students that are here for their certificates. Allie, would you like to come up first? Allie is our girls lacrosse coach. That's the youngest lacrosse player we have in the school district right now.
He's learning.
There you go. Okay. No big deal. The sheet analysis is not here. Here we are. A lot of our seniors are away right now. Okay, go ahead.
We'll recognize Farida. Farida broke the school record for draw controls, which is very important in lacrosse.
Come on up, Frida.
Cam Hoyt is on the leaderboard for caused turnovers, which is also important in lacrosse. I know. Davis Addison. Billy Kostick. Logan Klinger.
I keep it. Yeah, there she is.
Christina Zeng.
To do it for, was anything?
You
No?
got it. You got
Okay,
it.
okay, thank you, Ally.
Thank you.
Next is girls track and field.
Like to hand out certificates before or after.
Right now.
Here we go. Bailey Espinosa, come on up. We'll talk about everyone. Kate Batkowski. Tegan O'Sunday.
That's the one that that's all. No, that's what I have.
Yeah.
Okay.
There we go. All right, so will you hang on?
Yep.
Thank you very much. Thank you so much. I'd like to take a few moments to tell you a little bit about the season from the coach's perspective here. Thank you and good evening, members of the board, administration, guests, everybody, athletes as well. I want to begin by sincerely thanking all of you for your ongoing support of our athletic programs, in particular, of course, our girls track and field team. The resources, the new facilities, the encouragement that you help provide create opportunities for all of our student athletes to learn and to grow and to compete at the highest of levels. This spring, our girls track and field team accomplished something that's truly remarkable. After months of dedication, sacrifice, and hard work, as you heard, we finished as the PIAA state championship runners up, which marks the 6th time in school history that our girls program has earned that distinction. To be among the top programs in the state speaks not only to the talent of our athletes, but also to their commitment, their teamwork, and their resilience. Our season was filled with very special moments. We were undefeated throughout the regular season, capturing the HAC 2 division title for the first time since 2021. At districts, our athletes delivered dominant performances to win by, I believe, 45 points over the second place team for that district championship title. And then at the state championship meet, when it mattered most, they truly delivered. We brought home medals in all 3 relays, something that has not been done at Lewisburg since the 2010 team that also finished as state runners up, and something that is extremely difficult for any program in the state to accomplish. We placed 8th in the 4x800 meter relay, won bronze in the 4x100 meter relay en route to setting the new school record, and then earned a silver in the 4x400 meter relay, marking the third time in 5 years that we have taken that second place spot. The other 2 years we were AAA classification. We also had several outstanding individual performances. Caroline Blakesley earned our first individual medal in the 200 meter dash since Callie James Winchin accomplished that in 2006. And she walked away from the state meet with 3 medals in total between her individual and her relay medals. There were many highlights to the weekend, but I'll speak to a few. The biggest highlights, I think, of course, were no doubt the gold medal performances by Tegan and Bailey. Bailey opened the meet on Friday with all eyes on her. She captured Lewisburg's first state gold in the 1600 meters since her mother, Ashley Wetzel, won the same event in 2003. Bailey became the third 1600 meter champion in school history. Jill Snyder was our first. Not only did Bailey win, but she shattered her mother's school record by an incredible 6 seconds. Shortly after that, all right, on Friday also, Tegan showed her versatility, literally sprinting from one event to the next. After helping the 4x100 meter relay team qualify for the finals, she went on to win the state title in the javelin, following in the footsteps of her uncle, who was also a state champion for Central Columbia in the javelin. What made Tegan's performance even more inspiring was that she battled through soreness and discomfort in her throwing arm and shoulder throughout the season, but never wavered in her belief in herself. And she rose to the moment to become a true champion. And finally, one of the most unforgettable moments of the entire weekend was Bailey's state record performance in the 3200 meter run. We'll leave it at that because I can't get through the rest of it. But it was great. Should have been there. It was something to see. As the announcer was calling out that Bailey was on pace to break that record, the crowd roared and brought her home in that final 100 meters. I believe Bailey thinks that somebody was chasing her and was right on her shoulder. That wasn't the case, but brought her into the finish line with a state record performance. Of course, behind every successful season is an incredible coaching staff that makes all of that possible. Our newest addition, Daniel Frake, brought tremendous energy and leadership, creating a tight-knit family environment with our circle throws. Those include the discus and the shot put. And he's doing a fantastic job developing those programs, further building on the coaches who came before him. Mark Temple continues to be a dynamic and steady presence, skillfully guiding athletes in 2 of the most technically challenging and dangerous events, the javelin and the pole vault, both very safely and with great success. The season also marked the final year for Coach Aaron Winings, our longtime jumps coach, who had been a coach on, I believe, 3 separate stints with the program. I'd like to take a moment to say that Aaron has been a consistently positive figure in our program. Under his guidance, Emma Bolton qualified for the state championships, but Emma also set an indoor school record for the high jump and currently holds the second best high jump in outdoor school history. Coach Wining's contributions were greatly appreciated, are greatly appreciated. He will be deeply missed. Our new volunteer coach, Brooke Leitzel, made an immediate impact in her first year, providing valuable insight and technical coaching to our pole vaulters, sprinters, and hurdlers, and added an excellent new dimension that helped lead to our success. Another crucial volunteer is Ashley Espinosa, who creates the strength training program for our sprinters and distance runners and provides expert guidance in injury prevention, which is an essential part of our program's consistency and help. Finally, Coach Dylan Durnick, our distance coach, has been my steadfast assistant for 9 years and continues to grow stronger as a coach every single year. His work with our distance squad this year was masterful, and he plays a significant role every season in the success that our program has. Behind those accomplishments are countless hours of training, early and late workouts, long bus rides, and the daily pursuit of excellence. These athletes and this coaching staff represented our school and community with tremendous class, character, and sportsmanship. Girls, I'm extremely proud of you and your accomplishments this season. Please don't ever underestimate how wonderful it was what you achieved this year. I want to once again thank the families, teacher. Well, now actually I want to thank the families, teachers, staff, and community members whose support allows our athletes to thrive both academically and athletically. So on behalf of our entire girls track and field program, I thank you all again for your support.
Evan?
Good evening, everyone. I have a certificate of achievement for one of our student athletes, Will Cicchini, if you can come up. Well, hello there. I'm Coach Lepovetsky. I'm here representing boys tennis. I'm just going to make a few remarks about our incredible season. First off, a big thank you to everybody in here, community members, teachers and staff, families, parents, and siblings that support the boys tennis program throughout the spring. It is a fun season. It is a long season. And ultimately, it comes down to the student athletes to go out there, have fun, and do their best. And this season was no exception. The boys went ahead and went through the season with just one loss. They went ahead and won their respective district, District 4, and went ahead and played in the state tournament where they certainly did their best and enjoyed themselves. We also had two boys that paired up in doubles for tennis that won districts for doubles and went to the quarterfinals at the state level down in Hershey. Will Cicchini and Alexi Rosenberg both represented the community extremely well with professionalism and sportsmanship. And I'm very proud of the season that they and the rest of the team have accomplished. Since becoming the head coach, it's honestly been a pleasure and an honor to see some of the boys just rise up and become the best student athlete on the tennis courts that they can be. And this season certainly was a showcase of everything that they can and could do. So I'm very proud of the remarkable season that they had. As their coach, I'm tremendously, touched and proud of just everything that they sacrificed to become better tennis players. Myself and the coaching staff couldn't be more excited and proud from what took place this season. Myself and assistant coach, Dr. Curtis Nichols, it's amazing to see the student athletes go out there and just have fun. And they represent the community and themselves to the highest level. And honestly, I think as their coach, that's the one thing I'm probably the most proud of. So I thank you for the continued support. Thank you for the 6 tennis courts behind the building. They were amazing, and we'll continue to use them for years and years to come, both for the boys and the girls tennis squads, but also for the gym class curriculums here at the high school. So thank you for the continued support, and we'll keep playing tennis. Thank you all.
What Evan failed to mention in that speech was also, like I said, he did mention the tennis course, but man alive, we could use a huge windscreen out there. It was windy just about every match out there. Cold and windy. Yeah. That will not happen. Okay, our men's or boys track and field coach can't be with us tonight. Jacob Ghost will be speaking on his behalf. He is on his way or landed in Italy right now, so he has an excuse not to be here.
Good evening. Hello, I'm Jacob Ghost. I'm going to reiterate a lot of stuff you've already heard tonight, but it's pretty important. So I'm the current school record holder in the outdoor shot put. I took over my brother's record this year. Unfortunately, he still has the indoor record by 1/4 of an inch. So that was rather heartbreaking. So remember, I am talking for Coach Hess. So if it sounds a little weird, it's coming from his mouth, not mine. I'd like to begin by expressing appreciation to the board and those in this room. As coach of the Lewisburg boys track team, I realize how blessed I am to be part of such an awesome program. And without the support of the district and community, we would not be able to do the things we have done or reach the levels we've reached. So thank you all. What a season. From day one, this team met challenges. Like a freight train rolling, it could not be stopped until the state level. Through an undefeated season, through a league meet competition and a Hack 2 title, through a district championship with a 3rd place finish on the biggest stage possible for a Pennsylvania team, which is the PIAA state track meet. Medalists included at the state meet, Hanif Shavers placing 6th in the 110 hurdles, Michael Hernandez finishing 4th in the pole vault, along with Ezra Zook finishing 8th in the pole vault, myself finishing 3rd in the shot put, Jonathan Hess finishing fourth in the 1600 meter and third in the 3200 meter, fourth in the 1600, and then also the 4x8. Grayson Barner, Justin Knoll, Luca Kuhn, and Jonathan Hess finishing seventh. Now time for my little spiel. Again, I'm Jacob Gose. I'd like to thank the school board, any administration, coaches, teachers for all giving their time and effort for improving us, not just as people, but as athletes as well. So track season contains both invitationals and dual meets. Everybody can compete in the dual meets. It's just two schools going at it head to head. Invitationals you must qualify for. Now each are important and typically big meet atmosphere at invitationals results in outstanding efforts and results from individuals. However, dual meets are just as important. We showed up at every single one this year, undefeated. Now, it's not just the point scorers that are the key points at dual meets. It's the freshmen, the sophomores that see how those older people participate and how they compete. These meets are key because it sets the tone for what it takes to go far. We battled through the tough meets and didn't take the easy ones for granted. This team was so determined to succeed, you could feel it in every team meeting, every bus ride, and every practice. The team is only as good as its members, and the environment made from those members determines the outcome. If I had two words to describe this team, I would use love and passion. Without support from each other, we could not have succeeded. Without the personal drive and the goal for getting better, we could not have succeeded. The passion of the collective team gave us a possibility to win, but the collective love of the team made it a reality. I personally love this team, not just as a whole, but each and every part that contributed to it. I love that everybody was so different, and yet we had common goals. I love relationships formed and memories made. And with that love came the passion and determination to succeed, not just in our individual events, but as Lewisburg track and field. Thank you. All right, first things first, we have Hanif Shavers for his 110 finish at States. Then we have Michael Hernandez for his fourth place finish at States. Yeah. Then we have Luca Kuhn for his 4x8 relay seventh place finish. And then myself for shot put.
Thank you. And I think from hearing from our student athletes and from our coaches, you can see we had a very successful year, and we do have some fine young student athletes in this district. Thank you.
All right. I hope you'll all stick with us for a moment because we have one retiree we want to honor. And then I also want everyone to take a cookie. So this is Susan Gemmerling. I think Kathy has nice words for you.
Right here beside me. We had just 3 retirees this year. Our first grade teacher, Shannon Schaefer, our high school art teacher, Mrs. Christy Amy, and after 8 years of service with us, Mrs. Gemberling in the high school library. Sue, in appreciation for 8 years of distinguished care and service, thank you.
Certainly, I'll start. Sue, congratulations. It's been an absolute blast getting to know you over the last 4 years. There's so much that you do in the library that I think many might not always know goes on. So from fixing laptops that come in to all the loaners and the dead laptops that aren't charged from day to day, you definitely have to get them checked in, checked out, all those pieces. And those are just really valuable pieces with the students. When we got the printer in the library that can essentially print just on about anything, you were the one who learned all those pieces and helped train others as they wanted to get interested in those items. Also, throughout the building, you'd see quite a few displays throughout the various months. I think the one that I remember the most is the 9/11 25th anniversary. It was that you created a display for that just had such a honorable remembrance of that day, and students had come down to basically review all of the display information. So those little pieces that, you know, take so much time, so many students got to see and experience because of all of your hard work with that. And then I think last year you were kind of riding solo in the library a little bit. So 2 years. So you helped to continue just making sure that that was running like a well-oiled machine, and then getting Miss Edwards up to speed and acclimated with all things in the library are super appreciated. So those things I don't think everybody always notices, and just thank you so much for all the support that you gave to our students and staff, front office, throughout your years here. It's been super great getting to know you, chat with you, and I know retirement will be quite busy, filled with lots of travel. I don't know how many continents we'll get up to at this point.
Next year, Europe.
So I know you have some trips planned, and certainly enjoy the cross-country trip and some other trips that you do have planned. It is well deserved, and thanks for all that you've done here at the high school.
Thank you.
Sydney wants me to come back. I saved all my 9/11, so she wants me to come back in 2026 to help her put it up.
Deal. See you then.
All right, my turn.
Okay.
Suzanne Gemberling, a true Renaissance woman. I have known Sue my entire married life, probably. She coached gymnastics when I started to teach. She then provided childcare for my two oldest, who got to play every day with Matt and Jenny and Brad. She went on to teach in Virginia, came back home, subbed for us outside of school. She wallpapered my home and sponge painted my living room. Yes, she's that talented. We have traded family stories forever and shared so much in the library. The displays unmatched, and also your interactions with our students. An artist, a crafter, a world traveler, a fix-it person. There isn't anything you don't touch and make it better for doing so. I wish you and Steve the very best. Thank you.
Thank you for the opportunity to work here. I loved every minute, and I got to do a lot of things. And when he talked about the cases, there was an empty case. I don't think anything ever went in, so I took that one too. And so then I was doing 3 and did you make your pass? That's how Hanif never made a pass. But I saw a lot of these in the library this year, and we had a good time. So thank you very much for the opportunity to work for Lewisburg.
Thank you. Right now, truly, please grab a cookie or a scone, and you don't have to sit through the rest of the meeting. Do we have any citizens' comments to the board on agenda items? Do we think there's anyone here? No, right? No yellow cards? No, okay. When it quiets down, we'll do principal's comments. So you can pick who goes first. Kaylee, you can pick who goes first. Bye.
Congratulations. Congratulations.
Just take the tray at that point. Just
Okay, evening, everyone.
Hi.
So, and one building was epic, and fourth grade had their field day inside the Eichhorn Middle School all morning, and then like the not outside, and it was really neat to see all of the staff come together to help Dave Waterman move all the activities inside. They opened up the classroom, they moved desks all over, they weren't listening to anything to make sure that it was successful. Sorry, there it goes. And then fifth grade was able to move outside. Again, everybody hustling around to move everything outside. Everyone was happy, had a great time. And at Kelly, we actually used the rain date, but what was really neat about that was the fact that families in our community, as you all know, are so supportive of those events that they may have already had off work on Friday, but didn't mind changing and still being in attendance. We had a lot of people at our field day that day. And the kids, you know, everybody transitioned well. Everyone had a great time. It was beautiful weather. Something else that was, I thought, even more beautiful was our concerts, our fourth and fifth grade concerts. There were, you know, lots of mothers with tears, you know, the fifth graders moving on to middle school, and comments about Banana Boat coming up year after year after year, and parents saying, I don't care, they can continue to play Banana Boat because it's like a little tradition. And we just love seeing our kids up there. And the kids, you know, lined up excited and nervous, transitioned so nicely to the stage. It was like they were prepped so well by our staff that they needed to be as professional as they could be as fourth and fifth graders, but they did a really nice job. So we were appreciative of Mr. Zeke, Mrs. Eichhorn, and Mr. Fortuna for that opportunity for our families to come together and celebrate music and watch their kids enjoy. We kind of get to see that the beginning of their love and where they start, and then you all get to see the end. And lastly, our senior walk. This was the first time I got to experience it here, but it was really neat to see the kids high-fiving the seniors as they came through and kind of encouraging them, you know, this will be you someday, you know, keep working hard, and the staff giving hugs, and those kind of like, they knew they had a part in them becoming those responsible and successful adults. And it seems so long ago, but the students were, you know, wrapping their arms around teachers that they had had before. And it was just a beautiful thing to see. And Kelly was where I was that day. So we've had a lot of things that were exciting for our students in the month of May, along with wrapping up grades for report cards and everything. But it was just all very inspirational.
Thank you. As Kaylee said it, and I feel like I say this every year, it's such an emotional roller coaster at the end of the year.
And for sure, you all get to see different aspects of it and different phases of it. You get to see the celebrations that we all will reference in our comments. We also get to see, and I know if you have children in the district, you get to experience that at home, but just the worry that happens at the end of a year, whether it's kindergartners, this was their first main teacher they've had, not knowing what first grade will bring, not wanting to leave their teacher, wanting this teacher forever. Third graders transitioning to Lintown is a major change for them. So we were able to get them over for a visit, and the staff there do such a great job welcoming them. And then the fourth go up to fifth, and we send the fifth over to Michael at the middle school, and his staff does a great job, and with the students as well, just welcoming them and starting to reduce the worry that our students have. And then the excitement of summer and the talk of plans and all the fun together. And then also students that really are worrying about summer, not wanting to leave the routine that we have, the relationships we've built, and just very proud across the board of all of our staff. And even the subcontracted staff with Adam Transportation, I think from the bus drivers, secretaries, custodians, teachers, support staff, everyone senses the different needs kids have at the end of the year. And they meet those kids there, that they try to create a feeling of comfort, and wishing them well, giving them things as they head into summer to occupy their time, connecting families with resources, camps, any way we can support them throughout the summer. It's just really neat to see that all come together and the true bonds and relationships that you experience, the tears at the end of the day from students and from staff. That last day, the students that surprise you, that you think they're going to be doing cartwheels, throwing the papers in the air and just charging out of there. They're walking a little slower. They keep looking over their shoulder, hugging every staff member as they leave the building. I think it's just, that's why we do what we do. And it's just really neat to be able to experience that in so many ways. A couple other things that I wanted to share. Part of with getting the third graders, celebrating all they've done and sending them over to Lintown, we started doing a third grade send-off where we brought in different guest speakers to provide different messages and just a way to celebrate. You did it. You made it through Kelly. You're heading over to Lintown. This year we had Anthony Morgan, who's the chief of public safety at Bucknell, also a parent of students in our district, came and just talked to the kids about a message of positivity, self-confidence. And then as always, there's got to be a Q&A with little kids so they could ask all their questions of him. And then he gave them little police chief stickers that they got to wear. Some kids were wearing them several days after. But it's great to involve the community and to bring in guest speakers. And then along with that, we always have a kickball competition where it is students versus staff at Kelly, which is always fun to see. Staff that'll blow your mind, some of them, how far they can kick the ball and how hard they're going to go no matter what, diving, trying to catch the ball. But it's a great way. Others classes are invited to come out and cheer on their friends. A great way to celebrate the third graders and all that they've done. Another thing at the end of the year, we're wrapping up the end of the year and we want to savor every moment we have, but we're also thinking ahead already the last few months, looking at some curricular pieces, and some are on the agenda for this evening, but we're still asking staff to really dig in deep all the way through those last weeks in our curriculum discussions, planning summer work days, letting us know any needs they have from us, us marking our calendars to be there to support them when they come in. They just keep going, and some of the grade level teams will be in here within the next week already planning ahead for next school year. And the last thing I wanted to share is one of the biggest jobs we have is hiring. And we're in hiring season now. I know in terms of elementary, we are way ahead of where we've ever been. We started interviewing, trying to find the days we could commit to kind of being out of circulation to help with everything going on. It's always so refreshing to see the quality of candidates that we have and the passion that the candidates have. And then for us, yes, it's their content knowledge and educational knowledge in theory, that is important, but also how do they fit within the team? How do they fit within the dynamic? And so far we are extremely satisfied with everyone we're able to bring forward to you. And really looking forward to the contributions they're going to make to both Kelly and Lintown in their roles. We have a couple more to keep rolling with, but
But again, it's just so nice to see the people that want to come here, the reasons they want to come to Lewisburg. That's always one of the first questions we ask. And yes, you could say anything to us, and some people do, but you can truly sense the genuine passion and what has drawn them here with what they've heard about our district, the reputation we have, the community that we have, the support we have across the board, is such a positive thing. And that is very frequently commented on by our candidates. And with that, we'll turn it on to Mr. Sokolzik. Pass it down to Mr. Sokolzik.
Got it. Thank you. Did you recruit Vince for your staff versus students kickball tournament?
You stepped away.
Were you the secret weapon?
Mr. Caruso's ball may still be in orbit.
Okay.
Very impressed with his.
So it was a busy last month at the middle school. We had our honors reception to recognize our 8th graders who were 3-year honorees at the middle school, meaning they were on honor roll every marking period of their middle school career. We had our outside awards ceremony where we have various awards from community members, some from, even though it's called outside awards, within our own middle school, but just to recognize all the amazing things our students do, their accomplishments, and their contributions to our school and our district as a whole. We also battled some rain and some scary weather forecasts, so we moved our fun day, but it turned out to be a great fun day Monday. Our students were awesome. There was so much for them to do. There really wasn't, there were some students that chose to sit and relax, which is great, but if they didn't want to, they didn't have to. They could go from start to finish. And our 8th graders went to Knoebels. They had their 8th grade pizza party, which is always just an end of the year highlight. Thanks to Kaylee for all your hard work. You were a dedicated member of the middle school staff that day. She was right on dominoes when they weren't doing what they needed to do, making sure it happened. And we appreciate all you did. And then the last day of school, we tried something new with the students this year. We gave them a set of 20 challenges that they had to complete to be able to escape the middle school for summer. I lied at the beginning, and it's middle schoolers, so some know right away I'm lying, but some believe me. I said, you actually can't leave until you've finished all of them. So it might be 1 a.m. I'll be here. So, and you hear that like gasp and then silence. I'm like, just kidding, but seriously, you need to do them all. But it was just a fun way to send the kids out. It was a lot of efforts from staff, from parents, community members, our PSA, but I really feel like we sent our students out right at the middle school to end the year, sent our 8th graders outright. There was just a strong sense of community the last couple weeks at the middle school, and it was a really good feeling. We also sent some staff members off, Mr. Ballman, our social worker, who's also at Lintown, going to Williamsport. And just on the last day, our staff, getting together after the students leave, recognizing him for all his contributions. And Mrs. Gogler, who's heading to the high school, but she's been a dedicated member of the middle school staff for 9 years. So we're also really fortunate, like Eric said, to be replacing, and I know some on the personnel report tonight, but replacing some strong staff members with some other really strong candidates, both from inside and outside the district. So really grateful for that. And I wanted to highlight, even though I'm going out of turn and out of school here, the seniors, because the graduating class was my last group of 7th graders when I was a 7th grade learning support teacher. And it was this was my favorite graduation ever, because going up and talking to the students and what are you doing? What are your plans? And I'm just blown away. Like, there are sometimes I don't want to say doubt students, but you worry a little bit, where are we going to be in 5 years here? And just seeing where the kids are, hearing their plans, it's amazing. And it just speaks to this district and the ability from pre-K to 12 to help kids find that plan, that passion. Just to highlight everyone here, there, all the teachers and staff doing an amazing job. We're in the summer. It slows down a little bit in some ways, but in other ways, the foot's still on the gas pedal. We have our middle school. If you've been in the middle school over the last year, the rounded wall where there used to be a mural, there's a sign and it said something cool coming soon. And there's a story behind that, because when Hot Frog was here, I just casually said, just a sign that will say something cool coming soon. And I didn't mean it literally. And they literally printed a sign that said something cool coming soon. But it worked. It's middle school, right? So unfortunately, there were some hiccups, some things took a little bit longer, but it's up. I think Mr. Hoover has the photo. So that was really exciting to see it throughout the day yesterday being put up, and the completed rounded wall today. Already working with Vince to figure out how we keep going down the hall a little bit, but they did a great job, and I will definitely send in my last newsletter here for summer so the 8th graders can see the completed product. I feel really, really bad. I heard someone joke, one of the students said, we're just gonna have to start adding years to the something cool coming soon sign. I'm like, so, but it's busy. There's a lot going on. Like Eric said, curriculum review. We have some teachers looking at some different pieces to improve the student experience, onboarding new staff, and just planning my own initiatives to roll out to the staff. But we're appreciative of everything that everyone's done for this year and already excited for next year.
You had some rock stars in your homeroom, yeah?
My homeroom was just amazing. I did note that when I was talking to them after school. I said, is it coincidence that you were all they were phenomenal then? They came in phenomenal in their memory. They remembered socks. One of my students said, remember that I had bacon on my socks the first day of school. I'm like, I remember that. Great.
Too funny. Yep, a lot like everybody else, end of the year busyness. Much of mine is just a lot of thank yous to some individuals in the building. Sharon Dittmar in the front office, she basically spearheads all of graduation and does all of the efforts of planning, starting all the way back with getting the invites out in March and connecting with Bucknell and making sure everything is really where it needs to be and how it needs to be set up. So a lot of what comes to fruition that day is all because of Sharon and her efforts. There's some other people as well that put forth tons of work there. Tammy Ike, she does all the seating arrangements for the event to make sure that students are in the right order, checking caps, gowns, making sure that all the cords are set. So there's just so much effort that goes in to the end of the school year of those planning pieces, along with like awards day, all the contacts to the community, making sure that the recognition is written out, the awards are written correctly, checks are written. So that is all done through the guidance, our front office. So there's so much effort that goes in from those individuals, and without them, we would not be successful at the high school because of all of their efforts that they put forth during that last month and the final stretch to really have it come to fruition there at the end. Also, thank you to all the buildings. I know there's quite a bit of disruption on Senior Walk Day, but I think it is one of the sincerest ways that we can recognize seniors and all the efforts of teachers and other staff members throughout the buildings, because those genuine hugs and signs, and I was delivering 5th grade pictures with like popsicle sticks to a couple kiddos. So it was just a great trip down memory lane and a great send off to those seniors, because I've talked to a couple other of my friends who are in education. They've talked of senior walks and those types of things, and it just seems different here of that interaction that does exist. So that's something that's just so special, and that's just a credit to everyone K through 12 of the efforts that they've put in and day out to really support our students to make sure that they're successful moving forward. So those things are really nice to sit back and just really reflect on now that the school year has come to an end. And then the other thing, as a lot have mentioned, just with summer work, Jonathan will talk more about it, but with kind of the school year, with Miss Reber retiring in November, Jonathan coming on board, just kind of that transition process and teasing it all out, getting some more feedback from staff, and just maybe some initiatives that will be coming forward here in 25, 26, just some staff input from things that they've wanted to share with us or things that they would like to see changed. So we do have, we did collect some survey results and ask some questions to staff just of, things that they need clarity on, things that, hey, this is what we do. Why do we do this? Just those types of things. And I think it's a good reflection for Jonathan and I as we're, new administrators in the building of, why do we do certain things that we do? And do we have good answers for those types of things? Or do we need to look at making some of those changes? So that will be some of our summer work as well. As we kind of go through summer here of just what does next school year look like? What types of changes do we want to make? Or here's the reason why we do those, because it makes a lot of sense. And this is pretty baked into our process, and absolutely we need to continue with it because it's been successful. So those are some things at the high school that we're looking at, just as some transition stuff is changing, some transition stuff has happened. And then as we move forward into next school year.
I didn't want it to pop.
Pop.
Yeah. So Mrs. Checo and I met this week at some point. I was in an all-day training today, so I exist in a little bit out of space and time right now. Met with Lackawanna College this week to continue moving forward with those dual enrollment options, seeing what courses would be best fit in terms of giving kids those opportunities. Like Josh said, the summer, I think Michael said it too. The summer, things just change. It's not necessarily less busy. It's just different busy. Josh is hard at work on the master schedule for the fall. We'll start interviewing for positions on Monday. And I guess it goes, what's been said, but I'll reiterate it. In my brief time here, it's become very evident of just how important it is to find the right fit. And being in a district that sets itself up to find the right fit is super encouraging. Interviewing can be a bit of a marathon at times. And so we've got them spaced out to where I think we can do like a really nice job in vetting candidates, but also getting to hear what those individuals are about to make sure that we find the best fit for those positions. There will be some information going out to juniors this summer about some changes to transcripts. That'll include like the new grade scale. And I think there's going to be a new format.
Yeah, so we're moving from like the traditional landscape view. Most schools you see portrait. That allows for just some more information to go on there for colleges to see, but also if we have, students going to other buildings, just so it's easier kind of for some transparency. So that's part of the reason for the change.
That information will also be going to other grade levels as well. We'll be doing class meetings in the fall to discuss that, as well as informational evening for parents, just so everybody gets the same information communicated to them and are on the same page. Yeah, and that's summer.
Thank you all. A good end of the school year. And yeah, summer's always, being on the academic calendar myself, I know summer's a great time to let's see what we're doing next year. Oh, now the most exciting annual food service report.
Well, thank you for the time to let me speak. When I asked for the June meeting, I thought it'd be great to get you the numbers, not realizing I'd have to go after an acclaimed sports, season with, emotional retirees, and then the thoughtful from the principals. I'm thinking, oh boy, so I get to follow that, but I will make it as exciting as I possibly can. But this is our food service annual presentation. If you don't know me, my name is Michael Jones. I have the privilege of being the Director of Student Services. So at this instance, I get to wear the fun hat of Food Service Director. So there's a few points of interest I just kind of like to highlight this year. The first is we were in our 5-year audit cycle, which I can proudly say was successful with no findings. Every 5 years, we have a very in-depth audit that they look at every aspect of the National School Lunch Program. Basically, they make sure that we're cutting all the red tape in the right places with the correct scissors that were made in America. That's a long story. So the next really kind of great part, I thought, we received some free federal funding for the department through the Department of Defense for the Fresh Fruit and Produce Program. Every year we get so much money to allocate to different venues that we use throughout the year. And although I don't have any superpowers, I make friends pretty easily. And I befriended the lady down in Harrisburg who controls the money. So when I said, Sue, we're a little school, but I'm running out of money. Can you help out with anything? We got $45,000 worth of free money this year, which is huge. And you'll see on a couple of slides later what that did to our bottom line, which I'm very proud of. But for those that are not aware of what the DoD Fresh Fruit and Program is, at some point, our government thought it was a good idea, and they were right, to assemble a network of essentially pathways to get fresh fruit and produce to our soldiers and military personnel at all the bases throughout the continental United States. Then someone comes like, hey, this would be good for our school systems too. And here we are today, and it's incredible. We get very fresh, very wonderful produce that we can give to our students that this may be the only fresh fruit and produce they actually get ever. So I'm pretty proud of that program. And the next and last point of interest, we procured 573 cases of applesauce at absolutely no cost to the district. This equates to 3,438 number 10 cans of Musselman unsweetened applesauce with a 2027 expiration date. To give some context of how fast we go through applesauce is when it's on the menu, we do about 12 cases a day, which, quick math, is about 48 days worth of applesauce. Thankfully, we don't have applesauce every day, so this should last us a while and also help us with next year's bottom line. Oh, so, yes. So in my copious amounts of free time, how we procure food for the full year, we kind of project what we think we're going to be needing. We try not to be wasteful, but when you realize there's something you're not going to be using, you can give it back to the reserves. And then we get a lovely email that says, hey, this is up for grabs. So the first time I was like, I'll take 50 cases. And then I went back 3 days later and the majority was still there. So I'm like, we'll take some more. And then I had to send another email and it was all there. So I'm like, I'll take all of it. We have a really big dry storage. So they shipped it all to us. But they did put some more out for everybody else. But basically schools gave it back because they couldn't use it. Sometimes you have vendors that produce too much and in a very nice gesture, they want to donate it to schools. So it's like, hey, it's free for everybody. So yes, and it's not even like the off-brand generic stuff, it's the good stuff. So it was very exciting. For our next slide, program participation, which I'm also pretty proud of. You can see a breakdown, and this is as of the end of May, but you can see a breakdown of the number of breakfast meals and lunch meals, which gives us a total of 267,861 meals served. And that was just through the end of May. So there was another 4.5 days of school left. So there'd be a few more tacked on, but this is up about 2% from last year, which again, that is the goal, but I'm pretty proud of those numbers as well. To Dr. Fairchild's most favorite slide that we've ever had would be the financials. So just some ballpark numbers. As of the end of May, we were about a little over 12,000 in the hole. However, with our projected numbers through the end of June, that would be with the rest of our reimbursements coming back from the state. We should see about a positive just under $28,000, which I'm very, very proud of. How the financials work for food service is you usually start with a pretty massive deficit in the beginning of the year. You have to buy all of your stuff up front from the get-go without any money coming in. So you kind of work all year long, making that deficit less and less and less until you get to the end of the year where it's like, great, we have all the stuff we need. Let's finish the year out without buying more stuff. And that's kind of how we end up where we're at with the positive just under $28,000. So pretty proud of that one. A few concerns that just to bring to your attention, nothing that we have to radio the Pentagon for, but just some things to like keep in mind for the coming ages. as always, we're always going to have issues with procurement and aging equipment. The inflation, the economy the way it is, and potential tariffs will be driving up the cost of food and supplies. I've been working with PRFSD, that's the Pittsburgh Regional Food Service Directors Group. They are our large buying group for grocery products, to try to see if we can't figure out what we should be expecting for tariffs. And the answer is we have no idea. It's like the Wild Wild West. It could be anything from nothing up to 25%. The nice thing is, because we are supposed to buy American, which is the joke about the scissors, most of our things won't have a high tax rate for these tariffs. However, our number 10 cans of, let's say, applesauce, the applesauce may be produced in America, but the tin for those cans was overseas. So we could be seeing some increased costs because of those. Right now, we do not know how that will affect us, but we do know that inflation is a real thing. So we are expecting an increase in cost of our grocery bills, if you will, for the coming years. Also, we have aging equipment that we are looking to replace. One pretty neat thing I'm pretty excited about that Vince can take credit for. We are going to be replacing the Lintown cafeteria tables with some nice new shiny ones, because they are very old and very heavy. We are in the process of working with a company for those, as well as something that we are going to look to is replacing our steamers. For those that don't know what a steamer is, it's kind of what we use every day. It can heat anything. It can steam your vegetables. It's more functional than an oven. However, the ones we have, you can no longer buy parts for. 2 years ago, we bought the last circuit board for one off of eBay, and there are no more. So trying to bring us up to the 21st century, we'll be purchasing combi ovens to replace all of our steamers in 3 of the 4 kitchens, and that's just because the high school already has combi ovens. A combi oven is pretty neat, and it's a versatile piece of equipment because it can both act as a steamer or an oven. You can also program it, say something needs to be steamed and then baked. You program it, you hit a button, and it does all of it automatically. So they're pretty excited. Plus, it gives you an extra, like, you need an extra steamer today, just use the combi oven. They are about 25 to 30,000 a pop, depending if you need the natural gas or the electric model. So they are a bit pricey, but no more pricey than just replacing it with a steamer. So the thought is, if we get a more versatile piece of equipment that you can, dual use, it'll increase the versatility and functionality and efficiency of our kitchens. Also, something that's not up there because it's just happened, the walk-in freezer at Kelly, which is our oldest walk-in unit, has finally given up the ghost, and we're going to have to replace at least the condenser. Mr. Gallegos is helping with that. We're going to have Silvertip probably come in to give us a quote, but we'll be getting that replaced. We got a call at the last day of school. The alert came off, and I had to go evacuate the freezer over to the high school, but thankfully all food was protected. Another concern is the meal cost for 2025, 2026. A little background, how we figure out what the cost should be. There is a tool called the Paid Lunch Equity Tool that is given out by USDA to PDE and then given to the school districts. However, because of recent personnel cuts at the federal level, we still do not have a paid lunch equity tool. Because of that, we're not really sure what to do amongst the food service directors. So we've been talking about it. In talking with Mrs. Moser, we feel that our lunch costs are a little higher than all of those around us. And with the state of the economy and the entire community feeling it, we are asking that we do not raise lunch costs going forward for next year. We do have a healthy bank account for the food service that we can cover the deficit that will occur next year from not raising costs. But I do feel like this would be a really great thing for our community. And we do have permission. We actually got it today, Kyle and I, and we sent that off and they didn't say anything about it. I said, we have a positive balance and we are not raising costs. And they said, thank you, accepted. So I believe we are good to go as long as everyone here is fine with that. Next, the USDA final rule for updates to nutrition standards. Thankfully, this won't really be a monetary concern. It's just more of a lot of thinking and headache concern. But we do need to be watching the included sodium, sugar, additional breakfast options, milk, and Buy American products that we need to be watching for. There's new stipulations of what we can and cannot have for the coming years. Thankfully, there's a step-down program that will take us through to 27-28 school year. But we will be looking at that to make sure that we're following guidelines. And then lastly is the student lunch debt. This is a nationwide issue. As of when we wrote this, which would have been probably the end of May, our student lunch debt currently sat at negative $22,000, which is a large amount. However, thankfully, we did receive a check from Giant Foods for $5,436.70, as well as some additional funding from a very wonderful, generous anonymous donor through the Green Dragon Foundation, which will take that number down. The only portion of that number that we really need to worry about is that of the seniors. This is so high, it wasn't just from this year. We do carry debt over all the way from, kindergarten up through their senior year. The only time we have to worry about the debt is when they become seniors, if they don't pay it off. That cannot be paid out of the foods or out of the general fund or out of the food service fund. It must be paid out of the general fund. However, we can use the money from that Giant Food to pay off the senior lunch debt, which was a little over, was it $1,200, Kyle, about that? So it wasn't too bad. But we are hoping more for that. And actually, I'll have a small plug in real quick at the end, but 2 Tuesdays from now, Mrs. Moser's giving me the permission to go. There is a press conference at the National Main Capitol Rotunda in Harrisburg. There's going to be, they're going to be discussing Senate Bill 180, which is co-signed by Senator Williams and Schwenk. This is the bill to propose universal school meals for all. This is something I feel very adamant about. They're asking anyone that can come to show support in numbers. So I will have the privilege to go in there. It's at noon if anyone has off work on a Tuesday. But if you want, I'll even drive you down there. But if you can't come, just, think of us. But I am hoping that this is something that they do consider passing, because this doesn't just help our students, but it helps everybody. As the principals adamantly said, we're working with these students on a daily basis. They're going to be the future leaders of the world, not just America. And we know for a fact that if they are well fed and don't have to worry about where their next meal is coming from, they'll learn better. So, yes, sir. Yes, we're working on that. So we were able to export all those emails. It's a process, but yes, because part of our problem is our current system, which is lovely because it's automatic, isn't coming from a Lewisburg school account. And so as we all know with email, sometimes things do end up in spam. So before we put these down, we are working on pulling all the emails out to send them through from my email account, so they will hopefully be received by those parents. But yes, thank you. Any other questions about the concerns? So future vision. I have big ideas. Sometimes they're bigger than all of us, but I like to dream big. So some things I'd like to see and hopefully initiate for the future of our food service program is the new IT thing right now is farm to school. I'm sure you've all heard about this. We actually have some teachers here at the high school who are teaching about it, which I think is fantastic. Something that we can do in the food service department, we can actually have vendors come in to give kind of presentations while kids are eating. They'll bring in informational packets. They'll bring some products that say, hey, this is, and explain, this is how you got this bowl of whatever it may be. It helps provide a focus on education and nutritional awareness as well as sustainability. I think it's really great. I'm super excited that our students here take an interest in it as well. Another thing we can have when vendors come in is student taste test stations. These are usually a huge hit among other schools. It gives students a chance to let us know, hey, we love this, or we don't really like this. When we can find out what the students like to eat, it makes our job a whole lot easier in planning menus, and that'll increase our participation, which will increase our bottom line. Lastly, I'd like to work alongside our teachers to engage with nutritional learning opportunities. We have a wonderful, robust cultural experience among numerous classes, whether it be the language classes or the history classes. And there's something about eating and food and culture. You can really learn a lot about a different culture by knowing what they eat. So knowing what they're teaching about in a given week, we can incorporate some of those items in our kitchens, especially at the older grades or the high school. But even at the younger grades, I know they do different, story readings where they have hey, they're even talking about this. It might be a mango. We can get mangoes from the Department of Defense Fresh Fruit Program. So just having that hands-on approach for those students to kind of enhance their learning. And lastly, my favorite slide. Why we do this. Working in the food service industry, and especially for school district, is not easy. It is not glorious and it's not always rewarding, but I'm proud of my staff. They come in every day, and it's not because we pay the best of all the area, which I will put a plug in, we do, but they have just this wonderful motherly and fatherly sense for the students. They take care of the students, and it doesn't matter how hard it gets. It doesn't matter what comes down from above as far as like, well, here's your new regulations. You have to do this, this, and this. They do it with a smile on their face. These two, they're mine. It's not just about my kids, but we really do take an interest in all the students here, and we kind of take them under our wing. We lovingly call Mrs. Moser mom. She's like our admin mom, and we love her. Vince, we'll get you a nickname sometime. But we do this because it's what's best for the kids, and because it really does make a difference for them. So, any questions?
Could you just implement a Google form where you ask teachers to put in what they might be teaching so that you get responses?
I love that.
Right?
Yes,
That'd be a
we
really
can
good option.
definitely do that.
People know what because they do exciting things at the beginning of the year, right? 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
You want kids to be excited to come back to school. So if you know now, because I know you do your ordering so far in advance sometimes.
We do, but we can work it in there. We're fortunate with the vendors that we have. That sometimes can make things a little challenging. And actually, one of the challenges I didn't put up here is we had some issues with our milk company. I'm a little disappointed with who we had. I don't want to name any names, and I can't name any going forward because I haven't given the official bid results yet. But I am absolutely over the moon excited with who we have for our next milk company. And I'm working with the Dairy Princess Association to come in to actually do a thing at the beginning of the school with big, like, hey, we have a new milk company. Try the milk and it's going to be great. So. But I love the idea of the Google Doc. I think that's a great way to have, efficient way to get those from the teachers. But our vendors are usually pretty good for like last minute efforts of getting things. So we should be able to handle that. But thank you. Any other questions?
Is the Department of Defense program like that guaranteed to be continuing?
Yes. Okay. A little bit about that. So yes, that is a definite guarantee. The first year they weren't sure, but it was an astronomical success. So that is a thing forever. When we do our procurement, we can allocate things like you can get discounted chicken, you can get discounted beef, you can get all kinds of things. And you can also put some of that allocation into the Department of Defense money. I have a roughly $59,000 allocated for that next year, which is I was guesstimating about what we would spend, and it should be about within $2,000 either way of what we'll use for the next year for that program. But that would definitely be a thing next year. It's not always guaranteed what they'll have. It's whatever's in season. And obviously, if some awful natural event occurs and destroys a crop, then we don't always get that item, but there's always substitutes. So great question.
One question, Michael, I get sometimes is what the cost would be on the district. If the district just provided free lunches for all, can I assume that with the expenses at 1,171,000, is that?
So not quite. We would still have earnings from the meals. Oh wait, you mean free for everybody?
Yeah,
Oh, yeah, a lot.
that's the cost. Now-
That plus all the free money we got.
Right, but that's the expense for us to buy for the people who are purchasing lunches. That's what it would cost.
Approximately, yes. It is a lot. That's why I'm hoping for this press conference that we can make some movement, because Lewisburg is a very special place. Because of the affluency of where we're at, we get very little funding from anywhere. And that's okay for most of it, but we have a certain group of students, I believe in as students, where they're been, hey, do we eat tonight or put gas in the tank? And that's stuff that breaks my heart. Like, I can't even right now. So that's why I really do think this would be good, so they don't have to worry about that kind of thing.
What's the date of that conference?
It is June 24th at noon in the main Capitol Rotunda in Harrisburg. They'll be discussing Senate Bill 180, and it's co-sponsored by Senator Williams and Schwenk, and I'm a huge advocate for that one. No, thank you. Anything else? Thank you very much.
You made it exciting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, yeah.
Just in the interest of our guest, I wonder if I could get a motion to move item G up. to right now? Moved by Ms. Kraus, second by Dr. Mattis. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. So we are now going to talk about item G, which is, that's why you're here, right? The turf field lights and tennis. Oh,
He's our insurance.
oh, insurance. Oh,
Good guy. Oh, good.
wait, where's some,
It's for the
oh, okay. Well, can we have a redo? Can I do a mulligan on that? It's only because it's already after 8 and we have a lot to get through. Can I instead take a motion to move item 6C to right now? Moved by Mrs. Kraus, second by Ms. Lyons. All in favor, say aye. Okay. Thank you. Now, can we proceed with item 6C?
Insurance carrier for this year, we have 2 quotes at the moment that we've received from CM Regent and Liberty Mutual. Mr. Brown informed me right before he came over here that we received a decline to quote. Is that what you would call it from?
Yeah, again, there's 4 carriers out there for the school district. CM Regent, which we've had you with for several years now, Liberty Mutual, Wright Specialty, which we used to have you with before moving you to CM Regent, and I'll probably Senate so you can see me, and Utica National. And at this point in time, we have the renewals in with CM Regent. We've had them for about 2 weeks. We did receive the quotes a couple days ago from Liberty Mutual. Wright Specialty has been a little bit slow on the draw, to be quite honest, and I did receive an email about 6 o'clock that based on where your pricing is right now, and I do not give the renewal pricing, I give what the expiring premiums are. They came back and said they'll decline this year because they're not going to be competitive on price. So they're kind of out, and I let Kyle know that. We're waiting for Utica National, and I'm not confident that Utica is going to come in with good numbers, to be quite honest. We start our school process back in February and March because every school, as you know, renews 7/1. And we were told by Utica National back in March when we had preliminary meetings with them, they're looking across the board in the state, depending on loss ratios for a school, a rate increase for schools with good loss ratio of approximately 20%. And they're looking for schools with a poor loss ratio or high loss ratio, 40 to 45% rate increase. We still wanted to send it out to market with them. I still expect to have rates from them by hopefully the beginning of next week. But my gut feeling is, and I shared this with Kyle, I don't think they're going to compete with what we have right now with CM Regent and what we have with Liberty Mutual. So both of those are close, and I apologize, Bill. I say you can kind of take it from there if you want to, or I say, but bottom line is the rates that we do have right now with CM Regent, I'm actually pretty pleased with renewal numbers. I've been doing this 38 years. The insurance market in general, we're in a very hard market. I'm sure some of you have seen even on your own personal auto and homeowners, in some cases, significant rate increase. In commercial lines, basically, we are seeing at least a 10% rate increase on average, and sometimes much more than that. There's a multitude of reasons. I won't get into all of them with you. Property rates are up dramatically. And quite frankly, that's our biggest ticket, for the school district because of the value on the buildings. And that's due to reinsurance costs, which have been up year over year for the last 4 years, 50 to 75%, driven by all the catastrophic losses that keep happening across the country, whether it be wildfires, whether it be hurricanes, tornadoes. Again, the payouts are there, and every company, no matter how big or small they are, do purchase reinsurance because they're looking to cover the catastrophic losses so they're not depleting reserves. So as those rates go up, as they're all buying their own insurance, obviously some of the cost is getting passed along to the consumer, whether it be the school, your business, your home, your auto, and so on. Right now with CM Regent, and trust me, I do work these numbers. We get them in and I push back. I go back to, I feel that's my job for you. I represent you. And we were able to get some decrease on it. And it is due to the longevity that you've been with CM Regent. Is due to your overall loss ratio, which has been very good, so you've been a good account, obviously, for the insurance carrier. Our package this year is up roughly 8.8%. And that was originally about 12, so we got it down to 8.8. The premium itself on the expiring is $112,777. The renewal is in at $122,694. The school leaders or professional liability, that's up about 5.8%. 10,648 was the expiring, 11,271 is the renewal. So bottom line is we're in a total premium of 133,965 on the renewal versus 123,425 on the expiring. And Kyle, stop me if you want, like I said, if you want to jump in or whatever. And bottom line is that's where we're at with that. Liberty Mutual is in just a smidge lower. They're at $130,497 total. Now, Kyle really did the comparison on it. I shared it with him. There are some differences and nuances between the policies. The one big thing that CM Region did this year, and I think that was shared with, with the superintendent and assistant superintendent, is that they're no longer offering flood insurance as part of their package in a non-flood area, if you will. They used to put it on there. They used to put it on like $100 million. It was there. They got burned on that a little bit. And after talking to my underwriters to find out why, because our schools are not in a flood zone. So if we wanted some coverage, we would still have to go and buy separate flood with CM Region. Where CM Region got burned on that a little bit, it's not so much with buildings, but with fields, athletic fields that were put somewhere maybe a little bit lower. The creek rose and basically it got hit. Most flood policies cover building coverage. CM Region did not have any kind of exclusion for fields and so on, so they paid. But that's basically, I think, what's driving from talking to underwriters and my field marketing guy, why it was changing. Because I'm like, we're not in a flood zone. Why are you taking it away? That's the short answer to it. With Liberty Mutual, they would still offer it. Okay. They're trying to compete. So they're saying, yeah, we're going to give you the flood. Okay. However, the caveat on that is it's not covering fields. It's going back to covering the buildings and so on for you. Okay. The other thing that Liberty pulled up with technology nowadays, they're able to pull reports and with better view and different software and programs out there, they look at roofs, which is getting to be a big thing even on homeowners and so on. But bottom line is a couple of our schools from the reports that they have, the middle school and the Kelly Elementary, because they're a little bit of an older building, they would want to put an actual cash value endorsement on the roofs, meaning that if something happened, you wouldn't get full replacement on those older roofs. It would be an ACV, replacement less depreciation. And as I said to Kyle, I can't give you an exact number on that because it's based on the age, quality, condition of the damaged property at the time of the loss. So, but there would be a holdback of some type for depreciation. Again, we do not have that with CM Region. So to me, that's kind of a big one there. We're losing flood, but we don't have ACV on the roofs. Go ahead.
1 year was earth movement.
Earth movement.
Not related.
That was the other one I was going to hit. Liberty Mutual now has earth movement on their policy. CM Region is still maintaining earth movement. Utica that we'd be getting a quote from if they do provide it is earthquake and volcanic eruption. I remember John Fairchild was saying about the volcanic eruption, but that is a huge difference. We had the periodic shale issue here and we did have CM Region step in, even though it was going back 15 years prior. And it wasn't a huge payout, but they paid about $60,000 on a claim going back to 2004, somewhere in that range for you. So from my aspect, I think that's still very important. The schools are still there. The pyritic shale is still here. You never know. Hopefully nothing ever happens, but to me, that's a big deal for you. Liberty actually is offering that as well. Now, as far as deductibles go for that, the earth movement with CM Region is a $25 million limit with a $50,000 deductible. Liberty Mutual is offering it with a 10 million limit, a $100,000 deductible.
Oh.
So the deductibles double and they're offering, but not as much coverage. So those are the big differences. I know Kyle has the spreadsheets with everything I say as far as every different coverage and so on. But looking at it, and he and I discussed it late yesterday, my recommendation, and again, I'm here to do whatever you would want to do, would be to maintain coverage with CM Region. For the couple dollars difference from Liberty that they're gonna save, it's gonna be offset, in my opinion, depending on what were to happen, as long as flood is not an issue for us. You never paid extra for the flood. That was always built into the package with CM Region. They've just now pulled that portion out.
Those two pieces are quite big, I think, the much higher deductible.
I agree.
Is, could be, that's a big deal around here for anyone who's.
It is.
done.
It is.
And to have it, to get our roofs assessed, even with the few that we're repairing this summer, we still have some that we know are sort of in line to be
Correct.
repaired, and something could happen, so.
Yeah, and depreciation, honestly, that can be anywhere from, depending on the,
10% a year, they could value it at zero, right?
it would never go that high, but 50%, I've seen it 50%. I've seen it, yeah, they don't normally go much more than, but 50%, again, I equate everything to what it costs to put a roof on our homes, what's it cost to put a roof on a school. So that to me is a big deal for you as well. So.
Yeah, I agree with your assessment based on things we've seen
So-
in the past, but you're gonna get other numbers, but it doesn't sound like, so
Yeah.
Wright's not quoting and Utica's.
Right is not Utica. We're supposed to have the numbers probably early next week at this point in time. So
Probably would've
again,
found Utica to be competitive for us, right? And you did pass.
I see, we quoted with Utica and we did get quotes from Utica last year. I don't know if I said on the spreadsheet, but they had come in last year, I think around 140,000.
Yeah. they might
Okay,
come.
they were up there. If I'm taking 140 and if it holds true, I don't have any schools myself with them. I have mine with CM Region. Actually, all the ones that I write are with CM Region. We write as an agency, probably about 18 schools across the state. But bottom line is, I'm taking the 140, just doing the math in my head and calculating at least 20% more onto that. Even at 140, even if they come in with what they offered last year, and they're not going to, they're still higher, and they're still gonna have earthquake versus earth movement. What they would do in the roofs, we might be fine with full replacement on those, but that to me is enough to say it's probably not gonna make sense. We're getting you the numbers. I will have them as soon as I have them, and like I said, I know this is only a board meeting. I'm usually bugging you at the last one, late in June, but we try to get the numbers as quickly as we can, which is always difficult because, again, every school's renewing at the same time. And the underwriters are swamped. I'm getting emails. I got emails actually at 10:30 from Liberty Mutual the other night. There's not enough manpower and the underwriters are doing it, so it's a process.
Can you remind the board what you built into the budget? Was it 9%, 10%?
Did 12.
12.
Yeah, so
Okay.
it was it was, I mean, it made me happy.
Yeah.
Yeah, but, yeah, like, Mr. Brown said, we're still waiting on Utica, and we just got the decline from an hour.
Yeah,
ago.
about 6
So
o'clock.
We had planned to just have it on the agenda to authorize me to sign, because we didn't have all the numbers yet, but we are leaning towards CM Region at the moment. But
Anybody have any additional questions?
The student accident coverage, again, because that's important for you as well. The recommendation is to stay with AG administrators. That's where we had it with last year. That number is flat. There was no increase over last year. We're at $12,901. Access that we had you with prior for several years, they went over 20,000 last year. When we went to them, they were going to have the same number. It was roughly 21,000. So bottom line is, it looks to me to be best to stay, especially with no rate increase at all, that we'd stay with them for the student accident coverage.
Where's our cybersecurity?
Cybersecurity, that's in August.
Okay.
Yeah, that's in August. So like I said, so we'll be dealing with that one soon. It's actually out to quote. I just don't have those numbers yet.
All right.
Yes, sir. Yes.
All right, I need so we had a motion to hear, but we didn't actually have a motion on the item, right?
We want motion
Yeah,
to let
so-
Kyle move.
Okay.
So does someone move to authorize Kyle to sign an agreement with general liability insurance? Moved by Ms. Maya, second by Ms. Panos. Any further discussion or questions? All right, all in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Thank you very much.
Thank you for the time. We
Yeah.
appreciate it. All right, I'll talk to you tomorrow, so, thank you.
Thank you. All right, so we return to item 5A, election of PSBA voting delegates. This is for the October 21st date. Heather had offered that she was available on that date, and I just slipped my mind who else.
I think they said there's only one. This time.
We can elect two at a time.
I think there's two.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
you're right, but only one gets to vote, or they might run out of space. There's the
Yeah, I
two.
thought there was a caveat.
There is, yeah. But let's just in case anything, let's just pick two people who are available and willing on October 21st. Anyone else who thinks they can date?
And I can, unless somebody else is dying to do it.
I know that I wish they did it on I know they can't do a weekend, but, all right.
They used to last year. It was on a weekend, but it was virtual.
But
Like
even
you
when
could-
they had an input, like, but you could go in person too. It was
Yeah,
actually
you
a
could
day.
have, yeah.
It was on the weekend.
They gave both options and it was on a Saturday.
It's also kind of an unusual time, 2:30.
I don't have any of these answers of how they picked the time or venue or anything, but so I hear a motion to for Heather and Jordan to be considered as our PSBA delegates. All right, moved by Dr. Mattis. Second by Ms. Lyons. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, thank you both very much for going at a strange time on a Tuesday. We are on to our final budget. This is, we've seen it before. It's the 2.4% increase. This is lower than the most recent estimates of inflation, so we're doing a really good job being careful with our money. Do I hear a motion to approve the final version of the budget? So move. Moved by Ms. Enos. Second. Second by Ms. Kraus. There's no comment. We can do a roll call vote.
Dr. Mattis?
Yeah.
Mr. Fetzer?
Yes.
Dr. Graham?
Yeah.
Dr. Grant?
Yeah,
You're unmuted. Can you hear us?
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
Oh, we can't hear you.
No? Oh. Can you hear me now?
There's a thumbs
No?
Give us a thumbs up if you agree.
I guess
Yeah,
let me figure it out.
Yeah. Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski? Mrs. Kraus?
Yeah.
Ms. Lyons?
Yeah.
Motion moved.
New curriculum resources. Also, this is something we had seen before. Do I hear a motion to approve? Moved by Ms. Lyons.
Second.
Second by Ms. Kraus. Any discussion? All right. I think we can do it all in favor. All in favor, say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, motion carries. Sorry, I just lost my tab here. All right, these are our new courses that we reviewed last time. Oh, there was a question. Did the math thing get fixed? I forgot to check that. I just thought of it now. Yes, perfect. Okay. No, accounting.
Counting one was changed, the grades were 9 to 12, yep.
Okay, great. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Kraus,
Second.
second by Dr. Graham. Any discussion? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Okay. Our next item, middle school facility improvements. This is the vestibule for the exchange window and creating the office and then doing some modifications in the library. You don't have any pictures. We've looked at this before, so.
Correct, yep.
Anybody need a review of anything? Okay, do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Mattis, second by Ms. Kraus. Any discussion? All right, I will do a roll call vote.
Mr. Fetzer?
Yes.
Dr. Graham?
Yes.
Dr. Grant?
Yes. Can you hear me this time?
She gave a thumbs up and it's recorded. I feel like.
Ms. Haynos? Mr. Heath?
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski?
Yes.
Mrs. Kraus?
Yeah.
Ms. Lyons?
Yeah.
Dr. Mattis?
Yes.
Motion carried.
Our next item, middle school athletic training room improvements for $3,900. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So move.
Moved by Ms. Kraus,
Second.
second by Ms. Lyons. Any discussion? Can we still put this in through, GD, did we put this in through GDF for like a sponsorship opportunity? or-
We did not, but we could put in like, the table replacements that are gonna be in there. We could put that in through GDF. That'd be a good, potential add-on. that
Great,
project.
thank you. Any questions or discussion?
Dr. Graham,
Yes.
Dr. Grant,
She gave a thumbs up again.
Ms. Sanos,
Yes.
Mr. Heath,
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski.
Yes.
Mrs. Kraus.
Yeah.
Ms. Lyons.
Yeah.
Dr. Mattis.
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer,
Yes.
motion carried.
Next, we're on to our change order for tennis lights. And so this is a good result. They're successful with US Tennis Association and local.
Yep.
And then the Green Dragon Foundation has agreed to lose the remainder. And we understand that we would like to do that in a shorter time frame than some of the other recent fundraising efforts, which have taken a little longer in years and then you've seen the report. So this is a good situation. Do I hear a motion to approve? So moved. Moved by Ms. Sanos,
Second.
second by Dr. Mattis. Any further questions or discussion?
So Vince, when would these go in?
They are on the schedule for September 7th through the 15th as a start date. That would be with the turf lights. The whole project would be that week.
So they all go in together?
Yeah.
Yes.
So there is a
One more-
possibility that when the time change happens, the soccer team could still have access to the lighted.
That is the hope. Yep.
Right.
All right.
Ready? Dr. Grant, Ms. Sanos.
Yeah.
Mr. Heath,
Yeah.
Dr. Jablonski.
Yeah.
Mrs. Kraus.
Yeah.
Ms. Lyons.
Yeah.
Dr. Mattis.
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer,
Yes.
Dr. Graham,
Yes.
motion carried.
I really do want to acknowledge that that was something we moved quickly on. We took an opportunity. GDF really met us where we're very fortunate. Thank you for finding the tennis situation. That all worked out well. Interesting to hear that next up is either a windscreen or an indoor facility, so we can continue that conversation. I was joking, that's not happening. A windscreen might. All right, our next item is board action on this sort of annual thing we do here with the Homestead Farmstead resolution. Do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Kraus,
Second.
second by Dr. Graham. Let's do, this we do roll call because it's like, yeah, resolution.
Okay. Ms. Sanos,
Yes.
Mr. Heath,
Yes.
Dr. Jablonski.
Yes.
Mrs. Kraus.
Yeah.
Ms. Lyons.
Yeah.
Dr. Mattis.
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer,
Yes.
Dr. Graham,
Yes.
Dr. Grant.
Okay.
Motion carried.
The next item is our tax levy resolution. So do I hear a motion to approve?
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Mattis,
Second?
second Kraus. We already approved the budget, so this is the only way that happens. So roll call vote, please.
Mr. Heath.
Yeah.
Dr. Jablonski.
Yes.
Mrs. Kraus.
Yeah.
Ms. Lyons.
Yeah.
Dr. Mattis.
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer,
Yes.
Dr. Graham,
Yes.
Dr. Grant. Motion carried. Oh, I'm sorry, Ms. Sanos. did I
Yes.
get you? Yes,
Mhm.
motion carried.
We had done 6C with the insurance, so we're skipping then to 7A with the board planning calendar. And this is,
Annually,
Yep.
we approve our own internal calendar for our board meeting agendas.
I'll give everyone a second to reflect. This is, we have the one meeting in June that we're trying this year. We're gonna do it again next year if that's. I mean, this doesn't reflect the dates. This is just to keep in mind that
Correct.
all those items will occur in this one meeting like as they are tonight. All right. Next, let's talk about
Asphalt.
paving repairs.
Yeah, I can take that one. So we have a proposal before you for information, for some, paving and sealing over at Pauling and by the middle school. And I'll pull up the map here just for all to see online. think it's here eventually, didn't turn here. But basically there's three areas. Again, you can probably see it better on your own screen. But area one is down here is the parking lot at Pauling currently. And then area two is the path from our Pauling complex to our middle school. And then area three is over by the field, and I'll show them a little closer here in a second. For the parking lot itself, it would be patching any areas that are deteriorating. There's an areas where there's like a red kind of square that's going to be repaired. It's also going to be taking out these two larger islands, potentially give us 6 to 8 more parking spaces. So we thought it was potential an added benefit there by taking those out. It would be then sealing the entire lot, as well as relining the entire parking lot as well to gain those extra spots. This quote right now does include keeping these three smaller islands. They didn't give us really any additional spaces. I think it potentially might have given 2 additional ones, but it was just a little bit more added cost that we chose not to do the 3 smaller islands, but just the 2 larger ones. Questions on area 1 that I could answer real quick?
No, but I did notice interestingly that it's like the only parking lot where we put in the trapped curved areas rock instead of grass.
Mm-hmm.
Anybody know the history of that? Because I would like to take that model elsewhere, even though we're taking these excellent examples out.
Yes, yes. I mean, but it will take out some of those islands. They are zero-scaped, as to steal your word, Aaron. But again, it's taking out again other areas that are a little bit rough, deteriorating. As you start going on this path, again, this area right here is deteriorating as well, and it's just going to prolong the life of all of this asphalt pathway. Area 2, it's a little hard to see on this image, but it is the entire walkway right in the middle here, kind of the corner of the track, where that path is over there. A lot of water went through there and penetrating it, and it's just not very passable as it used to be. It goes all the way around. There's an area here right by the sidewalk that's going to get repaired as well. And then all of it again is getting sealed all the way around the middle school. Again, it's a good distance. And then area 3 is the older picture here that's on Google Maps still, but our new soccer and football fields that are here. This kind of diagonal path that goes up the hill. It's very rough asphalt. It's not very smooth. Again, also some areas right in here that need to be repaired. And again, the whole thing will be sealed. This is how folks access this field. So it's very important to maintain for ADA compliance as well. So those 3 bundled together. So here's Lintown over here, middle school here.
Okay.
Middle school has kind of an area for out during lunch where they can.
Okay. I couldn't tell where the buildings were.
Yeah, it's not super clear with the lighting on there. And again, the baseball field is no longer there. It is a field now. So again, what's before you is proposal. Those 3 together. We had to go through Gordian as a co-stars quote, and the folks that were going to be doing the actual paving is Catilius, who we used in the past for our tennis project and our parking lot in the past, and has been a good asphalt vendor for us.
So,
Go ahead.
so on the path that's been whatever from water, are we putting some drainage underneath of that? Are we doing any kind of remediation to protect it from water?
We're working on the swale a little bit as far as directing, not necessarily adding any new piping or anything like that. They are putting like a better sealant on there, more of a hardening sealant, so that it's going to last long. This is these asphalt is fairly dated as well as far as number of years. I don't have an actual number of this asphalt, but
When did the Dragon Pass go in?
yeah.
So I know my sister did the initial feat of the Dragon as her senior project in 2004.
And was the path already there?
Yes, I don't know for how long.
Right.
I don't know if it was probably when they moved the house at Pollock Complex across and built the track with.
That was 97, 96.
Around 2000.
Yeah.
At least 25 years, yeah.
One of the interesting things that we talk about a lot is people continuing to park on fairgrounds and we run, I know we're gonna add 6 or 8 spots depending when we take out those islands. But it is, to the eye and psychologically, it seems like the parking lot in front of the middle school feels closer to Pauling. Is there maybe an opportunity to put a path on that side? I know there's like a little low ropes or what is over there now? The wetlands is on the, you wouldn't be walking through it. You can walk along the building. Would that, do you know what I'm talking about? Would that work? And it's also often like if kids are coming around and you want more kids to be coming out and using the turf field, I don't know where they'd be exiting the building from, but it seems like you'd want another access point from the school. Is that an option?
We can look at that, sure.
I mean, this is already a big ticket expense, but just the parking has been so bad when you have softball, field hockey, and the thrower practice.
And I think this year, the fact that the track wasn't really being used, and there were still many a times when people were lining up
Yep.
on the road where I know East Buffalo Township gets upset, and then up into Sunnyside into the neighborhood.
Are you talking about like a pathway over on this side of the middle school?
Yeah, there's a little bit of a sidewalk there, but I don't think it doesn't connect to the Dragon Path all the way, but you could probably figure out a way to.
There is a connection right here. This is an area that's going to get repaired right here, but it's
So we have no wayfinding.
not
right?
as direct.
No
I
sign.
think wayfinding signage at either location would be very helpful, even, to go back to the parking lot, just so they know the direction for sure, like we did at the high school here.
Yeah.
When is this paving getting done?
Probably September to October. Yeah. For there to be on their schedule. And this is for information tonight, so approval would happen
Yeah.
potentially in July. So that's kind of the time frame we're looking at.
Yeah.
When we did the path at, along, what is that, 19th Street at Lintown, we did not use Gatilius, correct? I think it was JD Feaster, or was it Gatilius? I know JD Feaster was one, but that was a smaller dollar amount, I think. Is there a reason that we're using Gatilius? Correct me if I'm wrong, I think that was, a year ago, we did not use Gatilius for that paving project, did we?
Which paving project are you talking about?
So the Lintown Playground, connecting the.
The path right
Path
inside.
along
the
19th Street, the fence, we used to be stumbling.
Yeah.
Were you here then?
I'm blanking
I
completely.
thought that was only a year ago.
I think it's been 2, maybe.
Okay. I was just curious.
Oh, that path. Yes, it was right before I came, I believe.
Okay.
That's why I'm blanking. Now I got you.
Balusters in there, the yellow balusters, and I think that was it.
Okay. I just thought.
I guess the advantage, Jordan, of going with the Co-Stars quote is not having to go through the bid process, which is going to take another two additional months.
Right.
You could definitely go that route, and potentially get 10 bids, and maybe one is not as quality as others. And so I guess you have a little bit of control by going through it.
I just couldn't remember why we didn't use Gatilius then, and why. Again, I know
That was previous to me, so I don't know.
We could find out.
I don't remember the
Oh,
exact,
because we went through the,
right?
yeah, I think that was.
Because one of them was like double the other two.
Yeah.
I know. So, but I don't remember.
For some reason.
Because it had to do with the balusters too, is that like a special safety? I know nothing of other names, but. Thank you.
Good words.
People. I don't remember.
I was just curious.
Well.
We can investigate before July, exactly.
And again, the reason we're going with a Co-Stars quote is because this is above the threshold. So
And I
for a
don't believe
smaller
that
project,
was, if but
yeah, then you have a lot more ability to get 3 quotes and things like that.
Mm.
Yeah.
Well,
Other
then I think when you bring up issues, we could have done in phases like the pathway separate from the parking lot.
Sure.
Because the pathway might be very feasible for someone local, small, do one section that we want to get over to the front.
Yeah, it's broken out right now. I mean, you can see the 3 different projects. If we would want to do, only tackle a couple of them. If it's under 12.8, we don't even need to get multiple quotes. It's area 2 and 3 together, for example, is still above, like 25,000 above the threshold. So that's why you have to pick like one of area 2 or 3, to be able to make that, feasible. We can't really parse them out if it happened at the same time because it's one project. So there's some rules around that we were navigating as well. So
I see, okay.
And I'm not against this company. I was just questioning why were we happy or unhappy with the other company? I don't remember who that company even was, but that was just curiosity.
I mean, again, with my tenure being here, we were happy with the tennis courts. That parking lot seemed to be very good. And so again, just being able to have that choice in who you're getting is just a potential up to the very lowest bid. You have a little bit of choice in that, I guess. But you're paying a little bit of a premium by doing a co-stars quote as well.
Our next item for information is some new bleachers at the middle school.
I will reshare one more second here. All right, so we were speaking of this area right here. Let me go back to that picture to kind of show you where we were. Again, this baseball field is not here anymore. It's now going to be soccer and football. That is, currently off limits to students as it's in a growing season right now. Hopefully in the next season here in the fall, we can utilize that for football. But right here there's 2 stone pads on this field, and we're hoping to get 2 sets of bleachers to go on those stone pads. They look like this. They seat 94 people for each of those. There is railing in the middle of it, and there's a backing behind it there as well, some fencing, but just an improved bleacher. 2 of them, again, these are 33 feet in length. So again, there's going to be, I guess, a home and a visitor one if you want to look at it that way. But the thought is to have some bleachers for that field.
Have we put this in for Green Dragon Foundation?
We did not. We could also do that as well.
Just out of curiosity, what happened to the bleachers that were there?
Those bleachers are at various places. We've got a couple sets. I think right over by the field hockey is where a couple of the old field hockey field, which is like a practice field right now. There are some right there. Some of those are a little bit in rough shape. And so again, that's kind of the thought of bringing in new. Again, we could bring those back over and place those on those pads. These would fit the stone pad that's there.
They don't have a back.
And they don't have a back, and they don't have any hand railing for accessibility. And that has been a request from some in the community that need that to guide themselves onto the bleacher itself. They don't necessarily need that. I mean, it's not necessarily needed for ADA because of the height that they're at, but it is a benefit to those that are watching.
Thank you. Any other questions to get answered before? Okay. We're on to board president's report. Mine will be brief this evening. I think we've done, graduation was fantastic. End of year was fantastic. I think everything closed out well. There's, as all the principals mentioned, there's plenty of work to be done in the summer. And so as each committee is looking at what's in front of them, for example, policy committee continues to meet and work on things, and we have some policies that we know we need to utilize in the coming weeks for certain circumstances. We know that there are some priorities for the district that we're going to continue to review, whether that's project oriented. So talking with Vince about not only the list we know with prices, but also that future list that we continue to look at and things that continue to bubble up. So something that bubbles up pretty frequently is the middle school very special locker rooms and the lack of a wellness space or anything that's sort of separate. And so that's something that I know has come up multiple times. The Kelly nurse and office suite and all of that has come up multiple times, and a few other projects like that where we need to keep these things on the horizon so that we plan accordingly as we're looking ahead. And several other items that I think I've just spoken with people, over the course of planning for the summer. So if there's any other things that you would like to have before the July meeting or before we kick off the next school year to say, hey, feels like we should look at this, or we should consider this, or a policy. I know there's some software changes, right? Are you guys doing the electronic hall pass at the middle school piloting next year? So sometimes it's good the board gets to hear about, you're going to try it. We'll see how the pilot goes. What else is being piloted next year? Me.
Here at the middle school, we did a behavior tracking program that I talked about on and bring forward that.
Yeah, thank you. So just as we look at, what I like to do is I look at last year at this time or the previous year, or I look over minutes and I say, oh, that's something we approved. We should take a look at that. So I encourage everyone to do that. Take a look at a year's worth of minutes and think about, oh, maybe we want an update and see how that went. All right. Kathy.
Nothing more tonight.
Yeah, this is a late one. Board liaison and committee reports. Does anybody have anything happened in the past couple of weeks? No?
We didn't have a meeting, but just, I guess, an update since I didn't give an update last time because of this awards program. 2 weeks ago was the awards program. Obviously, that update. We also approved at the third Thursday in May for Christy Etzler, who had been the assistant director, now serving as director. Dave Bacher is now into his role at Shikellamy. And I think that was pretty much the highlight of that. Oh, Dr. Bendel, who was the superintendent of record, has taken a position at Berwick. So we're in discussion of kind of, which superintendent will serve as his unexpired term.
All right, next up is our consent agenda. Do I hear a motion to approve? Moved by Ms. Hanos, second by Ms. Kraus. Okay. We'll do a roll call vote. Are you ready?
All right. Dr. Jablonski.
Yes.
Mrs. Kraus.
Yeah.
Ms. Lyons.
Yeah.
Dr. Mattis.
Yes.
Mr. Fetzer.
Yes.
Dr. Graham.
Yes.
Dr. Grant.
Oh,
Ms. Hanos.
Yes.
Mr. Heath.
Yes, with the exception of the contract for the baseball that person is being adjusted because it's my son.
And for me, for the minutes, since I was absent. Motion carried.
Thank you. Do we have any other citizen comments? Nothing, no one with comment. All right, director's comments. Ashley, do you want to try to see if your volume is working now? Otherwise, we have to move on.
Can you hear me? No?
Nope, so I'm sorry.
No, that's okay.
In the chat.
Fine.
Okay.
I'll keep it really brief. Thanks to everyone for ending the year the way you did. I think the fact that the students get emotional is just a testament to, the care and structure and the environment that you work so hard to create for them. So thanks so much for that. I'm also very grateful for these grants that we keep getting. The one that you've helped with the lighting and the DOD grant. I mean, those don't just land in our laps. There's people working to get those, and thank goodness for that, because it's really saving the district a lot of money as well as providing us with some great services. So that's all I have.
Jonathan and Josh, thanks for joining at the Schick Gym because of the weather. Thanks for joining for the SunTech Awards program. I wish I could have been at our graduation. I was out of town at a trade show, so I couldn't join for that. But I think tonight's presentations, you all sitting over here, I mean, the students that came, the coaches, just the passion that everyone exudes this time of year. It's just, it makes it all worth it. So thank you all for the hard work and getting through to this point in the year. So just a lot of exciting stuff.
Joe?
Yeah, ditto. Thanks to everybody for shepherding through those final days of the school year. I've been dropping my kids off at Lintown every morning this week because camp convention goes right on. So God bless the people that are willing to just keep that momentum going. Yeah, it's an emotional time in our house because now next year both my kiddos are going to be at the high school and they're all done with Kelly in Lintown. Eichhorn is crazy, really just I'd say thank you enough to everybody for giving it, making it a good year.
Yeah, same. Thank you. Peyton didn't want to end school. She was very sad to be home. So thank you all I'm always amazed at the level of coordination on field day and all of the staff and just the herding of cats that happens is very well organized, even if it doesn't look like that. So thank you for that. I also wanted to share from, many of you mentioned just the culture of Lewisburg and sort of how it just feels different here. I recently, someone reached out to me who's taking her last couple of classes for a master's in special education and asked to sit down. She had to sit down with a school board member and ask a few questions. And she shared with me that there were 8 other school board members that she heard presentations from her classmates. Based on, and I hope I was accurate in how I described what we do here with special ed. I know that we've had our concerns since I've been on the board, which I feel like they've, we're doing better. But in her estimation, we're by and large, by far, doing a lot better than some of our surrounding school districts. So I asked her to come back to me and share some of that data with me if she could from that class. But I wanted to share that I know sometimes we feel like we're struggling in that area, but it sure sounds like we're well ahead of the ball game for our area here in Central PA. So thanks.
Also to go on field day, we talked about field day, and the nostalgia of ending a year. So on the same, I no longer have Kelly kids since after 7 years of field days. I do think it is like such an amazing event though. Like I will never not think that Kelly field day, and not that the other field days aren't really fun. There's something about Kelly field day, and as somebody that hated field day as a child because it was like super competitive, and I've never been a runner and any of those things. Like I was really impressed always, like what the first year I remember was what Kelly field day is. And when you look at the logistics of it, because it does feel very open and people walking around and parents can just come and like from the safety aspect and all of that, like I never hear frantically like, where is the, we really don't know where a child is, or like, who is this random person in the building? So I mean, I think that is really fantastic. And then to see, I know Christine was back this year with her dog. So like the fact that people that are like retired want to come back and be part of an event that's so chaotic, but it's so awesome, I just think it's great. And your graduation was wonderful. I would think graduation is really fun, and having been in a school that was a little bit bigger than this, it's always nice to kind of see like in a smaller context kind of how graduation goes, and to see people. And I think I said the same thing earlier this year, to see kids that have such close connections with administration and with principals and with vice principals, I think is really amazing. I mean, I know kids always have that teacher and that's who they're seeing every day, and so that sort of makes sense. But for principals that like, you guys aren't in every classroom every single day with every student or with vice principals. I know even one of my kids said about like, oh, Mr. Hoover, and I was like, who Mr. Hoover, like how do you even know who Mr. Hoover is, in all honesty. So I think that really says a lot about you guys and your presence that you make and the relationships you build with people.
Yeah, and thank you to everyone for the end of the year. 2 out of my 3 did not want full time. I can tell you who's third. But I mean, again, everything, all the end of year activities are always very impressive. I told Mike at graduation, my middle schooler was very impressed that there were no movies watched. They were doing work or scavenger hunts, I guess, up until the last day of school. And that is impressive. Teachers sometimes get a little flack for those easy, weeks of the year, but not here. We keep them going right to the end. And thank you for that, because I know it is not easy.
I'm gonna sit in solidarity with Ashley and remain mute.
Just give us a thumbs up.
Well, thank you, Jordan, for going to the award ceremony. And I feel like there's always a rain situation with the sound check every time we try to get to it, like every time. So thank you for that. I won't have to repeat myself. It was a great end of the year, and I know there's so much stuff that has to happen in the summer. So, I mean, thank you for keeping at it. I really appreciated the food service report, and I'm glad that the press, you had really good details and the press wrote it down for the day in Harrisburg. So I hope they'll report it. We can check tomorrow. Let's see. Yeah. Take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Moved by Dr. Graham, second by Ms. Kraus. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All right, we're adjourned. Please remember that we have an exec session about, right now.